And the first one we're going to jump into is a game that brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. A lot of old school nostalgia, and that is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. And I have purchased it, and I have played it, and I have realized that I am not near as good at video games as I was when I was a kid. That's what I've gathered.
One thing before you go on, I'm just going to walk away again because this is one of those conversations that I just don't care about.
Did you never play with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
I did. It was great when I was a kid.
So here's the thing, Austin. When you are a podcaster on a video game podcast, you have to be open-minded to ideas and things. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be willing to listen, like, to other people and the things that they get excited about. You know what I mean? Like Flight Simulator last week, people ate that shit up. I'm talking to all y'all listeners that listen, all of you 100+ people that probably tuned in last week, because I mean it was a huge uptick from normal. So you definitely.
Oh, nice.
No, I'm just kidding. I just made that up just to make you feel bad. But
you should have just said that. You should have just gone with it.
I know.
I would have gone with it too.
But yeah. So anyway, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Obviously, Austin isn't as excited because he's not a kid anymore and he doesn't want to relive his childhood fantasies. But I do, because I had a lot of great memories with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1.
Are you going through like an older version of your punk phase that you might have had when you were a kid?
No.
Because I went through a punk phase when I was playing this game.
Oh, yeah. I never went through a punk phase ever.
And I even tried to skateboard and stuff.
Yeah.
And I failed. I landed on my ass once and I was like, God, it hurts so bad. I'm done. Screw the skateboard.
Did you start like wearing your hair like parted to the side like an emo kid or something? And like
no, I didn't have super long hair. I just kind of dressed a little punky, but it wasn't anything crazy. I was still pretty. Did
you have like a Blink-182 shirt on or something like that?
Never loved Blink-182.
Dude, that's punk, man. That's like the
epitome
of punk music. Yeah,
I was just a poser. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna stop right now. I already hurt myself. I can't keep doing this.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, no, I never skateboarded when I was a kid, but I always was envious of people that did. I just was afraid I was going to fall and like bust my head open. And I was also white and nerdy, you know, obviously. So still haven't changed. I mean, like
you're set up for success, man. White and nerdy.
White and nerdy, man, is crazy. But yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was one of those games I was just like, man, this sounds really cool. Like Tony Hawk's cool. He does skateboarding, and that was like during the days I think of like Jackass was on TV. I believe around this time, and I was just like fat because they had Jackass. That was a show that was really big, and they brought out a show like Bam Margera or whatever. I don't think he's a skateboarder, but it was I think he was a BMX biker, but he like put on a show that was kind of like Jackass, but not really. But I think he was. I want to say he was on Jackass. I can't remember, but either way, there's a bunch of these shows where people were doing stupid shit with like skateboarding and BMX bikes and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, I remember all that. It's
so
crazy.
It was just a thing that was the time and a place kind of situation, and this brings back a lot of that nostalgia. And it's crazy because this is a game that was put out by Vicarious Visions, and they're the ones that are responsible for the remakes of Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, those ones that came out the last couple of years. And then Activision is just like sending them more money and being like, here, let's just keep this train rolling and just start like remaking games. And then y'all got this under control. So they took this, and I like the way that they decided to take, not just re-release a remake of 1, because they've done a remastered version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater before, and it bombed. It was not good. People didn't like it. And then so far, the series itself, the franchise, has not done very well. Like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, I think was the last one that came out, and it was not well received. People did not enjoy it. And this is one where they were like, we're going to literally go back to the roots and then take 1 and 2 and mesh them together and make this one big, huge game and make it $40 or $40 instead of 60. So they got it there. It's completely remastered in 4K HD. It even has HDR settings. Like they went all out with the graphics on this one. And
that's impressive.
It looks really good and it plays really good. The concept when you like first jump into it is they take you to a training park to let you like learn all the tutorial stuff to remember how to play. And the control scheme is pretty straightforward. I mean, you have X to jump and ollie, and then 0 is your grab button. Square is the one that does like kick flips and stuff like that. And then your triangle does like grinds and I think wall grinds and stuff like that. So you can do all the different grinds with that. And then you can like switch with your R2 button. So it's like super easy. There's just basically 4 buttons you got to know, and then move around with your left and right stick. And it holds true to the original game in that every mission level that you played had objectives to complete. So one of them was like getting a high score, getting a pro score, getting a like crazy higher score, collecting the letters around the map, finding a secret tape everywhere. Like all these different objectives that they had in the old game have been brought back into this. And the first map that they jumped me into after the tutorial mode was Warehouse, which if anybody that's ever played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater knows this map. Like this was like the most iconic. Warehouse was the shit back in the day, and it's still the shit in 4K. Like it's pretty legit because they've added like new textures and stuff into it, and it looks. I mean, there's freaking rats that run around on the outside of the warehouse. You can see them through the window and stuff like that. Little nuggets of detail that are just really really interesting. And they still have the 2-minute time limit, which I was like, I don't remember this being a thing, but it turns out there was a 2-minute time limit that you had to like get as many objectives complete as possible, and then also work on a score. So you'd work towards your high score, completing tricks, doing all these different things, like working on combos, you know, like chaining things together to get your highest score and beat the previous score. What they've done different with this game now is before you just had your different skaters that you could pick from, and that was it. And then you just go to town with those skaters, and they had different, you know, different pros and cons. Like some were better at ollieing than others, some had faster speed than others, all that stuff. Well, in this one, there's a whole like progression system tied into it now. So they've, you know, done the thing that we have in modern day games where you can level up your character. Like, so if you play Tony Hawk, as you play and get more skill points, you can like find skill points in the game world, and then those skill points are used to then upgrade your character's abilities. So if you have a character that starts out with very low speed, you could theoretically, because you like that character, push him up a little bit higher on the speed graph, essentially, to make it better, make he or she better. So that's pretty neat. But they have all the original skaters from the old game, which is cool, and they got the ones from, I think, Tony Hawk's 2, and then there might even be some new ones in there. I don't really know if they did add any other new characters because I don't remember what it was like back in the day of who all was there. But a lot of the traditional ones that you're used to. But I'm just playing Tony Hawk because it's Tony Hawk. You know, that's just works for me. But man, it's so cool, like jumping back in these old maps and just remembering. Like I played the Warehouse. I played at the school, which I forgot about the school, like starting you off on top of the like a awning thing to like ramp off and jump off at the very beginning, and then you can go into do some tricks inside of the gym, the school gym, and then there was a mission where you had to like grind all the park or the cafeteria tables outside in the park of the school grounds. Just all these like neat things that I was like, man, I forgot about this, I forgot about that. I was playing I just unlocked the mall on Tony Hawk's 1, so that was one that was like a downhill kind of game, and you had to like break through the vendor or the directories of the mall, and you know, do these different tricks and find all these different letters and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this is fun. And then if you get to the end of it, they just start you back at the beginning. You just have that 2-minute time limit. And on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, they have like that whole list as well. And the whole campaign mode essentially is just complete X number of challenges on the maps that you've unlocked to then unlock the next level. And you just keep doing that until you've unlocked all the levels to play through. And it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of old school gameplay that I haven't done in a while. But the thing that I struggle with is that I'm so bad at it. Like, yeah. I feel like I used to be so good at like chaining tricks together and keeping balance and doing all these different things. And now I'm jumping into them. Like, I can barely keep my guy standing up. Like, I just don't land right, you know, when I turn around, I'm not paying attention closely enough, or I just can't react quick enough to like turn my skateboard to make sure it's going downward whenever I land a badass trick or whatever. And I'm on the struggle bus for sure. It's been a challenge.
Yeah, I remember trying to do all that stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was not the best at it, but I tried, you know, keep that trick going for X amount of minutes or whatever, and seeing so much people do those, like, they couldn't fall down. They just kept going, racking up points. I was like, yeah, hey, how do you do this?
I mean, it's so satisfying. It's like some of those things that you don't really get as much in games today, of like adding and chaining combos together to see how high of a score you can get, and keep trying this one trick that you want to achieve and make it reality. And nowadays it's just like there's so many bumpers and like handicap components to, well, not handicap components, but just like assistances that help you through the game so that you can't really screw up or work on those. I mean, like, thinking of Ghost of Tsushima, like there's no like challenge mode where you have to like rack up the highest score and work on like different move sets to like, you know, get the better score than the other person. Which, speaking of which, there's a multiplayer component to this, and I don't think there was multiplayer in the original game.
I don't remember there being multiplayer.
There might not even be in the second one, because I know that PlayStation 2, because this, I think the first Tony Hawk may have came out on PlayStation 1, and maybe even the second one did. But, you know, multiplayer didn't come out until PlayStation 2 with a network adapter attachment and SOCOM. So I'm pretty sure that there was no multiplayer with this. There may have been local multiplayer, so like split screen, but this one has online multiplayer, so you can go up head to head with other players and like compete for a high score. So that's a neat kind of aspect if you want to jump in there and just play against other people. And then they brought back Create a Park, which is awesome. So the inventor, creator in me can go in there and like build a park and share it online with the world, and other people can play in your park. And that's pretty cool. So I might dive in and do that at some point. I was playing somebody's park that had like, it looked like a water park, honestly, like these half pipes that were going all the way down from like real high up in the air, going down, 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 twist turns left and right. And it was just one big, huge like half pipe that just twists and turned every direction. It was crazy.
Oh God.
But yeah, man, it's so crazy jumping into a game in 2020 and just having this like, I mean, 2-minute sessions, you just jump in there. Like, this has become another one of my games that I can add to my list of just, I just want to goof off for a little bit and just play something that's kind of fun and just see if I can get better at it. I think this would be that game for me. It was Fall Guys for a little bit, but honestly, I've kind of fallen off of Fall Guys after the first couple of weeks of playing it. It's just kind of been there, done that, and I'm not excited about it anymore. But this may have like kind of taken over the Fall Guys thing for me. And now this is I just want to jump in and play a game real quick. It loads fast. It gets in there. It looks great. And they did a great job with the remake. I mean, it's solid. And it shows too, because this was apparently the fastest selling to 1 million copies Tony Hawk game ever produced. So they made it to 1 million copies sold faster than any Tony Hawk game in the franchise history, which is crazy for
impressive.
A remake.
Who's buying this? Like,
dude, everybody, man, it's super popular.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for the younger generation, I could see that. I mean, I know.
Well, I think it's our generation that's jumping into it, because it's like, I mean, all the different podcasts I've listened to is like super hyped on it, because they're just wanting to jump into this. They just want to relive that time of playing the original Tony Hawk. I mean, that was one of the, I mean, that has, I mean, if I think of games that like are cemented in my childhood, like you have Super Mario 64, you have GoldenEye 007, and honestly, Tony Hawk Pro Skater is in that list for me. Like, it's in the list of like the most iconic games of my childhood. Yeah. And yeah, so having this come back so well is super, super cool.
That's interesting.
And I'm digging it.
I guess I'm a weird gamer.
Yeah.
Like, it was definitely part of my childhood, and I have good memories with it, but it's not one of those games. Like, even Mario 64, like, it was great, and I have really good memories with that, and I wouldn't go back and play that game.
I feel like you were playing different stuff then. Like, I think we were kind of different when we were growing up, because you were into like WoW, and you were playing a lot of like RPGs and stuff. Like,
that was like way later in life.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I played Tony Hawk
like,
before WoW.
I'm trying to think before. Like, what did you play when you were like super, super young? Like, did you?
I would play all the N64
early
games. No, I wasn't.
Okay, so
I had an N64. I had a PlayStation 1 and an N64.
What'd you play on PlayStation? Like, do you remember? It's like
Tomb Raider, basically. I probably played a few other ones, rented some things from the Blockbuster, but I don't remember what they were.
Yeah.
But I know N64 for sure, like Star Fox, Super Mario, Shadows of the Empire, all the Pokemon games and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a Game Boy before anything else, too, so
yeah.
I played a lot of that.
I think this is one of those games that, like, because like when I was, playing console as a kid, like I was jumping into, like I never played Tomb Raider. I wasn't a Tomb Raider fan. Like I wasn't that, like those action adventure games I just wasn't into at that time. I was playing shooters on PC, but then on console I was playing Tony Hawk, which is like I was playing sports games. I was playing Blitz. I was playing Tony Hawk. I was playing all the Need for Speed, all the racing games, and I think that there's like a kind of a category of that type of game where where like if you played Tony Hawk, you also played the racing games, you also played some of the sports games, you also played some of these games that weren't as deep of game, like they weren't deep game mechanic games. They just had a lot of or deep story games even. You know, they were just more like, you know, hit your high score, do these like moves and jump in and jump out real quick kind of situations.
Yeah.
And I think there's kind of a difference there.
That makes sense.
So, but I just, you know, because I wasn't into those big, longer story-based games when I was a kid. Like I think the longest one I ever did was, GoldenEye. I mean, I did beat that story, but, and then Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was the first, like, this is my RPG that I'm going to dive into and actually play through from start to finish. But prior to that, I never touched RPGs. Like Final Fantasy wasn't my thing. I didn't care at all about Final Fantasy. But Kingdom Hearts attracted me because it had Disney characters in it. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I never got any of that stuff until later in life. So, yeah.
But I mean, same for me too. I didn't get into WoW until I was in high school.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't really out till then anyway. So,
right.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I mean, I've really been digging it. I'm gonna keep playing it and can't wait to unlock some more stuff and do some more cool moves and hopefully not fall as much as I've been. So
yeah,
that's it's been a bit of a struggle. I wish they do have a mode that you can go into where it's basically just like free skate, so you can just go and just like ride, which is great. But I wish
that was
like
always fun.
The 2-minute time limit in the main like world tour they call it. I wish it was a little bit longer because like 2 minutes nowadays just seems so short. Like you jump in a warehouse and you have 2 minutes to like beat something. It's just like done in an instant.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, the music, because that's what everybody was really into. It's just like, you know, this is the punk era. You know, they had all this like old school like 90s punk music, and they brought a lot of that back, which is awesome. So I was just like, remember these old songs that I haven't listened to in freaking 20 years probably. To hear them again, like Bad Religion, and then I think there's an Offspring song in here, and there's a bunch of different like just old school punk songs that you just haven't heard in forever, and I like that. And they added some new songs into the soundtrack as well, and that was a big thing that people were hoping would happen.
Very nice.
And they got the licensing for a lot of them, so it's pretty sweet. So
that's sweet, man.
Yeah. So
there's a drinking game I saw someone play with Tony Hawk. I think the thing was the other remake that came out a year or two ago, or a few years ago. And like every time they fell down, someone would drink basically. So
dude, I would be smashed so fast.
But it wasn't shots. Gosh. It was like shots of beer. But sometimes that's even worse. You know,
I'd still be smashed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah.
The amount of times I fell down last night when I was playing, like I would have had like 3 beers in like 15 minutes.
Man,
it was bad. I just kept falling.
Yeah.
It's like I tried to do this like just trying to do like a 2 combo trick, like was killing me. I was just it was embarrassing. But there were some points where I could like, you know, do like chain grinds together, because there's like in the school mission there's those little like those flower bed things that they have on campuses where it's like there's like a concrete around them and they put plants and shit in the middle. There was several of them like in a line, so I just like grinded one of them and then did like a nose grind on the next one and then did like another grind on the next one and got like a 3 chain combo, and then at the very end did like an ollie before I jumped off to like land my run. But other than that, I was basically just useless in most cases. Like half pipes and stuff, I could not chain combos together. It was terrible.
Bad day for you.
Yeah. And then I forgot some of the moves. I was like, how do I grab? Because there's a move where you can go up to the edge and you can like, you have to push forward and like press one of the buttons to like do like a grab and then like raise your skateboard up. Because there's a grab when you go up in the air and you get air and you like grab your board and then come back down and land. There's also one where you can like grab the edge of the half pipe and like hang for a little bit and then come back down. And I forgot how to do that. And I was trying like 5,000 times. And again, I kept falling because I didn't know what I was doing. So lesson learned. I'm not as good as I used to be at games, but it was still fun. So that is that. Cool. That's my impressions on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2. I recommend it. Anybody that has nostalgia for that game and wants to get back into it, I mean, you can't beat the price. There's a lot of stuff in there for $40. So
nice.
Well worth it.